as well as in Europe. And the fat man who sat with me in the first restaurant is the one who fulfills the duties of director of the Paris branch of the firm. That firm not only fills its pockets through the stupidities of its compatriots, but into the bargain it unfortunately adds much of its own meanness. And they concoct this melange in the following way. The branch of the firm here, advertising itself well by American methods, is already widely known to my compatriots, and therefore many of them, owing to always their same vanity, and to other weaknesses proper, by the way, to those beings of whom my compatriots mostly consists, always order their so-called fashionable dresses from this branch here, and the branch here sends to them from the capital of the world real French models. All this is done quite honorably, according to all contemporary commercial rules, on the basis of the triple entry bookkeeping and the Schachermacher accounting. As regards, so to say, the intimate side of the business, of this American solid firm of ours, founded by various American sharks, it is just here that these sharks skin everyone, and this only for the benefit of their own bottomless pockets. Well, when this Paris branch receives a mail order direct from its American clients, this same mail order is then sent directly to the German branch. And there in Germany, where materials and labor are much cheaper than here in Paris, the branch there, SLOWLY and LEISURELY, carries out this American mail order according to all the codes of Paris fashions, whereupon it very calmly sticks onto its production a Paris label, and again DIRECTLY forwards it by steamer via Hamburg to its New York branch, from which the client receives her order, happy and proud that tomorrow she will wear not just anything, but a real Paris dress, sewed in Paris itself, after the latest Paris fashions. What is most interesting of all is that nobody is offended at this commission business of this solid firm, but on the contrary, it is convenient and easy and profitable for everyone. From this commerce of theirs, even the French, the hosts of the capital of the world, gain. But it is true they only gain insofar as they make profit out of the postage stamps, which it is necessary to stick on the letters during correspondence between the customers and the Paris branch. As you see, everyone is satisfied and everyone is pleased and even benefited. And the chief thing is that the axiom of political economy, not accepted by everybody, is justified. Namely, that without international exchange of goods, countries cannot possibly exist. But what am I? I am only a poor dancing teacher. That jolly American was going to say something else, but at that moment a great hubbub arose in the next room of the restaurant, and desperate voices of men and women who sat there were heard. We got up, and only when we went out into the street did we find out that a being of the female sex from the community called Spain had flung vitriol into the face of another being, also of the female sex, from the community called Belgium, because the latter had given a cigar case as a present engraved with the inscription, "Always ready at your service," to a being of the male sex from the community called Georgia, whose Paris existence had been supported till this day by the first woman. When we got into the street, it was very late. It was already dawn, and having parted from that amusing American, we went to our hotels. While pondering on my way home from that famous Montmartre, over everything I had seen and heard. It was then that I well understood why and how such an opinion not corresponding to reality about the beings of that community France, which they already have, had been formed in the beings belonging to other communities. Thanks to everything I had seen and heard in that part of the city, Paris, it had become clear to me that those beings of other communities who come here to France come first of all to this part of Paris and to other such places where everything without exception is organized and adapted especially for them by foreigners like themselves, but who had come there long before and consequently had learned to speak the local language much better than they. And in view of the fact that generally the capacity for being rumination in contemporary beings becomes atrophied, and what is called a wide being horizon is absent, they take everything and regard everything as French. And afterwards, when they return to their community again, they always relate to other beings of their community about everything they have seen, heard, and experienced in that part of Paris, as if it were entirely of French origin, and that French beings did it all. In this way, such an opinion about the French is gradually formed in other beings not at all corresponding to reality. Moreover, there is also another and deeper cause for this opinion which had been formed about the beings of the community France in the particular consciousnesses of the beings of other communities. And in the given case, it is also based on one of the peculiarities of their general psyche. This peculiarity is acquired in them, once again thanks to that maleficent usage invented by themselves which they call education. The point is that there, in children, from the very first day, as they express it, of their appearance on God's earth, when nature herself is still continuing to form the given prime conception of the future three-brained responsible being, they begin, by this same maleficent education of theirs, to hinder nature from herself, producing the necessary formation. This is not all. Thanks to their maleficent usage to educate, they fill and drive into what are called the spezitualitivian concentrations, or, as they themselves would say, the brains of these newly born beings, all kinds of their ephemerally fantastic ideas, which brains are localized in general in beings for the perception and accumulation of all kinds of impressions, as well as of the results of conscious being awareness, and which among the newly born are still quite pure and of maximum perceptivity. The greatest misfortune for them is that this maleficent process continues to proceed for the majority of them almost up to the age when they should already be responsible beings. As a result of all this, that mentioned peculiarity of their general psyche just obtains which is derived from the following. Firstly, the general functioning present in their whole being of the sum of almost all their functions for active being manifestations, little by little adapts itself to respond only to the sum of these false and fantastic ideas. And secondly, the whole presence of each one of them gradually accustoms itself to perceive all subsequent new external impressions, without any participation at all of those being factors which in general are put in the beings for new perceptions. That is to say, to perceive them also only according to these previously introduced false and fantastic ideas present in them. In their new perceptions, the contemporary three-brained beings there ultimately lose even the need itself for embracing as a whole everything newly seen or newly heard. And the newly seen and newly heard only serve them as shocks, so that in them associations proceed of the information previously installed in them and corresponding to this newly seen and newly heard.